Hello there, and welcome to Deep Space Sleep. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Above you, wrapped gently around the Earth, is a world of air and light that's always moving slow, quiet, and endlessly patient. Weather often feels like something that happens to us, something loud or sudden, but beneath the storms, beneath the clouds, beneath every shift of wind, there is a calm rhythm, a softness, a pattern that has guided life on this planet for billions of years. Tonight, we're not thinking about the wild parts of weather, not the danger, not the noise, not the rush. Instead, we'll drift through its gentlest forms, the hush of evening rain, the way fog gathers like a low cloud that wants to rest, the soft breath of a breeze crossing a field at night, the delicate shimmer of sunlight inside a single drop of water. Weather begins with something so small, a difference of just a few degrees, a tiny change in pressure, and from those quiet beginnings, Entirskies unfold, winds begin their journey across oceans. Clouds bloom from grains of dust. Seasons turn like pages in a book written in air. Every moment, even right now as you listen, the atmosphere is moving with a slowness that mirrors your breath. Rising, falling, warming, cooling, all of it gentle, all of it steady, all of it part of the same soft, living rhythm. Tonight, we'll float through that rhythm together. We'll explore the calm origins of wind, the drifting shapes of clouds, the peaceful side of storms, and the quiet memory of weather written into landscapes all around us. No urgency, no rush, just the comfort of knowing that the air holding you tonight has been shaped by patterns older than mountains. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from and what the weather is like where you are right now. Is it raining, clear, foggy, breezy? Your words help other sleepy travelers feel at home in this peaceful place. For now, let your shoulders drop just a little. Let your jaw loosen. Let your breath fall into an easy rhythm, in and out, like wind moving across a quiet meadow. The atmosphere outside is calm, and now you're ready to drift with it. Let's begin. The first breath of Earth's atmosphere formed from water vapor and ancient volcanic gases rising softly from the young planet's surface. In those early ages, everything moved more slowly than we can imagine. Heat drifted upward from the molten ground, carrying steam, carbon dioxide, and traces of noble gases into the sky, creating a thin veil around the world. There were no storms, nor clouds, only warm vapor, circling the planet in gentle motions shaped by rising heat and the rotation of the Earth. Over time, this warm halo of gas became the foundation of the atmosphere we know today. It was a beginning born, not from chaos, but from soft expansion, like a warm breath meeting cool air. And every breath of wind we feel now still carries a memory of that ancient moment when air first settled around the Earth in quiet embrace. As the early atmosphere cooled, water vapor began to condense into the first clouds to ever exist, forming slowly and silently over the cooling planet. These early clouds were delicate, almost transparent, drifting above a world still covered in glowing rock and newly formed oceans. They gathered drop by tiny drop, each forming around microscopic motes of dust floating high in the sky. Over countless days and nights, these clouds thickened, spreading across the planet like soft white blankets. When they finally grew heavy enough, the first gentle rains fell, cooling the crust and feeding the earliest oceans. These clouds were not the dramatic shapes we see today. They were soft, diffuse, and pale, barely visible in the dim light of the young sun. Yet, they carried the seeds of every future storm, sunset, and raindrop. They were the atmosphere learning how to breathe, slowly, over millions of years. Tiny cyanobacteria in the ancient oceans released oxygen in quiet, steady pulses. Each pulse drifted upward into the sky, where it accumulated so gradually that no creature alive at the time could sense the change. The early Earth had no blue skies then. The air was dense with volcanic gases, and sunlight filtered through in muted colors. But as more and more oxygen entered the atmosphere, the skies began to lighten. The transformation was peaceful, almost invisible in its slowness. But it changed the destiny of the planet forever. Oxygen reshaped the chemistry of the oceans, allowed new life to emerge, and paved the way for the rich ecosystems that would eventually follow. Every breath we take today is connected to those first ancient wisps of oxygen drifting upward, creating a future they could never have known. As oxygen filled the upper atmosphere, something extraordinary began to form high above the young Earth. Molecules of oxygen encountered sunlight and rearranged themselves into ozone, creating a thin, protective layer that would shield the surface below from harsh ultraviolet radiation. This ozone layer acted like a soft, transparent blanket stretched around the world, holding back the most harmful rays of the sun while letting the gentle warmth pass through. The process was slow and patient, happening over millions of years, but the result was transformative. With this protective layer in place, life could safely expand onto land and new ecosystems could flourish. Even today, the ozone layer continues its quiet vigil, absorbing sunlight in silence, guarding life with a softness that goes unnoticed. It is one of Earth's greatest gifts, created not by force, but by the slow dance of light and air. Sunlight has always been the quiet engine driving Earth's weather. When the first atmosphere settled into place, the warmth of the sun created gentle temperature differences across the planet. Warm air rose softly from heated ground and ocean surfaces, while cooler air flowed in to take its place. These small motions formed the earliest atmospheric circulation, the foundation of every breeze, cloud, and rainfall to come. Over time, this cycle became steadier, shaping winds that traveled across oceans and influencing the formation of clouds in the sky. Even today, the entire rhythm of weather begins with sunlight touching the surface, warming it just enough to send air drifting upward. It is a peaceful, continuous exchange between Earth and Sun, a quiet energy transfer that keeps the atmosphere alive. Without it, the skies would be still. With it, the world breathes gently. Day after day, the first winds on Earth began with nothing more than tiny differences in temperature across the planet's surface. When sunlight warmed certain areas just a little more than others, the air above those warmer surfaces rose slowly, creating gentle currents that drifted toward cooler regions. These early winds were soft and uncertain, moving across a world still forming its oceans and continents. There were no forests, no mountains, no valleys to shape them, so they traveled freely, like warm breaths spreading into open space. Over time, these winds learned their paths, forming patterns that would one day guide clouds, shape climates, and cool the planet. But in those earlier stages, they were simply the atmosphere's first movements, quiet and delicate, responding to warmth with soft motion. Every breeze we feel today still echoes those earliest currents that flowed across a young and peaceful earth. The cycle of day and night created one of the first steady rhythms in Earth's young atmosphere. As sunlight returned each morning, the ground warmed gently, lifting air upward like a slow exhale. When night came, the warmth faded, and the air settled back toward the surface in a long, quiet inhale. This repeated pattern gave the atmosphere a natural pulse, a predictable rise and fall that shaped early weather long before clouds and storms became common. Over millions of years, this daily heating and cooling carved out the foundation for winds, temperature gradients, and the familiar rhythms we recognize today. Even now, the atmosphere breathes in harmony with the turning of the earth, expanding slightly with the warmth of day and relaxing under the cool calm of night. It is the oldest rhythm on the planet, a soft, dependable cadence that continues without pause. As Earth matured, its atmosphere slowly became more stable, settling into layers that each played their own gentle role in shaping the sky. Turbulent gases from volcanic activity began to fade, replaced by calmer mixtures of nitrogen, oxygen, and water vapor. Over billions of years, this slow transformation turned a once chaotic sky into a balanced envelope of air that wrapped the planet in steady protection. The atmosphere's layers formed naturally, with cooler, denser air resting near the ground and warmer, lighter air floating above. This structure gave weather patterns the stability they needed to form clouds, rain, and breezes with quiet predictability. Today, these layers still work together, absorbing heat, reflecting light, and carrying moisture across the globe. They shift and move, but never in haste. Their stability allows life to flourish beneath them, surrounded by calm, ancient air that has settled into lasting harmony. As you travel upward through the atmosphere, the air grows thinner, with a softness that feels almost like a fading whisper. Each step higher leads to fewer and fewer molecules, spaced farther apart, drifting gently in the cold, quiet sky. This thinning of the air is so gradual that you would barely notice it until you reach the height of mountains or beyond. At sea level, the atmosphere wraps around you like a warm blanket, dense enough to carry sound and hold warmth. But far above, near the edge of space, the air becomes delicate and transparent, touched only by faint sunlight and occasional wandering particles. This thinning is one of the atmosphere's most peaceful qualities, a reminder that the sky stretches endlessly upward, softening into silence. It is where weather fades, winds fall quiet, and the world below looks still and serene from above. Even though the air around us feels calm, every molecule within it is always moving, drifting, and colliding in a gentle, boundless dance. These molecules travel at incredible speeds, yet, because there are so many of them moving in so many different directions, the motion feels soft and unnoticed. Their constant movement carries scents across a field, cools your skin on a warm day, and allows clouds to form above distant horizons. Each molecule, whether nitrogen, oxygen, or water vapor, follows invisible currents shaped by temperature, pressure, and sunlight. Together, they create the breeze that rustles leaves, the calm air before rain, and the gentle warmth that settles at dusk. Their motion is the heartbeat of weather itself, quiet and continuous. Even in the stillest moments, the air never truly stops. It simply moves more softly, holding the world in a delicate, unseen flow. Wind begins from the smallest differences in air pressure, created when sunlight warms one part of the earth just slightly more than another. These tiny variations set air into motion, rising gently from warm surfaces and drifting toward cooler regions. The movement is so soft at first that it feels almost imaginary, like a quiet stirring in the background of the world. But over time, these slight pushes and pulls grow into breezes that travel across fields, coasts, and forests. The earliest winds on Earth moved slowly and freely, shaping nothing but carrying everything. Even today, every gust, breeze, or whisper of air begins with something just as small a difference, so subtle that it is felt only through the soft drift of air moving past your skin. Wind is the atmosphere responding to warmth with motion, the sky's soft way of balancing itself again and again. Sea breeze forms each day as land warms more quickly than the nearby ocean. When sunlight heats the shore, the air above it rises slowly, creating a gentle pull that draws cooler air in from the water. This movement feels like a cool breath drifting inland, refreshing and steady, following the coastline with soft intention. Long before storms or strong winds existed, this daily exchange between land and sea helped shape early climates, carrying moisture, calming heat, and guiding the formation of clouds. Even now, standing on a beach at noon, you can feel this ancient rhythm, cool ocean air gliding toward the shore, smoothing the warmth of the day. It is one of Earth's most peaceful wind patterns, born from nothing more than the difference between warm sand and cool waves. A reminder that weather often starts as a whisper before it ever becomes a voice. At night, when the sun slips below the horizon, mountain air cools quickly and begins to move downward toward the valleys below. This creates a soft, steady breeze known as a downslope wind, a gentle flow that brings coolness to the quiet landscape. It moves like a slow river of air, following the contours of the hillsides, sliding into meadows and forests with a calming chill. Ancient humans likely felt this breeze at night and interpreted it as the mountains breathing out after a long, warm day. It settles the land, easing the heat gathered in the rocks and soil. When you stand in a valley under a clear night sky, you can sometimes feel that touch of cold drifting past, subtle, steady, reassuring. It is one of nature's softest signals that night has fully arrived and the world is ready to rest. Trade winds travel across the oceans with a gentleness that belies the vast distances they cover, formed by Earth's rotation and the steady warmth of the tropics. These winds flow in wide, smooth paths that circle the planet like silent rivers of air. For centuries, they guided explorers, carried clouds across seas, and shaped the climates of entire continents. Yet despite their importance, trade winds rarely feel forceful. Instead, they drift with a consistent softness, pushing warm ocean air westward, creating calm patterns that sailors once trusted with their lives. When you imagine a breeze moving endlessly across blue water, brushing against the surface in long, unbroken strokes, you are imagining the nature of the trade winds. They are steady but never abrupt, powerful but never harsh, a reminder of how weather can be strong without needing to be loud. Monsoon winds shift direction each year in response to the slow warming and cooling of continents and oceans. When land grows hot in summer, Rising warm air draws in moist winds from the sea, bringing clouds and rainfall. When winter cools the land again, the winds reverse, flowing gently back toward the ocean. This rhythmic pattern has existed for thousands of years, shaping cultures, ecosystems, and entire seasons of life. Despite their grand scale, the origins of monsoons remain gentle, simple differences between warm and cool air that guide vast currents across regions. In many places, people wait for these winds with quiet anticipation, knowing they bring the water needed for crops, forests, and rivers. Monsoons are a reminder that even large weather systems begin softly, with the planet breathing in warmth and breathing out coolness. Year after year, jet streams are fast-moving rivers of air high above the Earth. But despite their incredible speed, they flow with a smoothness that feels almost serene. These narrow bands of wind circle the planet at the boundary between warm and cold air, guiding storms, shaping seasons, and quietly steering the weather far below. From the ground, we never hear them and rarely sense their presence. Yet they move the atmosphere in broad strokes, like calm brush lines across the sky. Pilots sometimes catch a glimpse of their strength when they ride along these swift currents, gaining speed effortlessly. But even then, the air remains gentle, steady, and controlled. Jet streams are a reminder that not all powerful forces are chaotic. Some move with the grace of a flowing river, shaping the skies with quiet confidence, unseen but essential, always traveling in their soft, ceaseless paths around the earth, across open fields and wide grasslands. Wind creates soft waves that ripple through the blades, like fingers brushing across a green ocean. Each movement of air bends the grass just slightly, creating patterns that flow outward in smooth, expanding arcs. To someone watching from afar, these waves look alive, rolling and shifting with a peaceful rhythm that mirrors the rise and fall of breath. Even the lightest breeze can set entire meadows into motion, transforming still landscapes into slow-moving tapestries of green and gold. For countless generations, people have watched this gentle dance and felt comfort in its simplicity. It is nature responding to the quiet push of air, turning invisible motion into something visible and soothing. These waves in the grass show how wind can shape the world, not with force, but with softness, creating beauty through the lightest touch. Warm air naturally rises while cool air sinks, creating one of the most fundamental motions in the atmosphere. This gentle convection is the foundation of breezes, clouds, and many of the patterns we see in the sky. When the ground heats up under sunlight, the air closest to it expands softly and drifts upward, making space for cooler, denser air to slide in beneath it. This slow vertical dance happens everywhere, all the time. Even when the weather seems still, you can feel it on your skin during a warm afternoon when the air around you lifts softly, or during a cool evening when heavier air settles close to the ground. This simple motion forms towering clouds, shapes winds, and helps regulate temperature. It is a quiet, constant process, the atmosphere's way of balancing itself with a natural, effortless grace. Even the gentlest winds carry life across the landscape. A faint breeze that barely moves a leaf can still transport the scent of flowers, the coolness of a stream, or the earthy smell of rain approaching. Moisture from lakes and oceans rises into the air and drifts slowly on these light currents, spreading freshness far from its source. For insects, seeds, and tiny pollen grains. These soft winds become pathways stretching across fields and forests. They carry whispers of distant places, subtle and comforting, turning every quiet gust into a messenger of the world beyond. When you close your eyes and feel a barely noticeable breeze brushing your cheek, you are sensing this delicate movement, a token of the atmosphere's gentle journey. Even small winds play a vital role in connecting life, spreading scents, memories, and breath across the planet. Global wind patterns form gentle spirals around the Earth, shaped by its rotation and the warmth of the sun. These vast currents move with a softness that belies their size, circling the planet in smooth, predictable paths, from trade winds near the equator to westerlies at mid-latitudes. Each pattern flows like part of a larger, elegant choreography. These spiraling motions help distribute heat, guide clouds, and maintain balance across continents and oceans, though we cannot see them directly. Satellites reveal their slow, sweeping arcs, curving across the globe like soft brush strokes. These global winds create the framework for nearly all weather, yet they do so without sharp edges or sudden breaks. They flow continuously, patiently, forming the atmosphere's great circulatory system. Their smooth shapes remind us that the planet is always moving, always breathing. In a quiet and harmonious rhythm, clouds begin to form when invisible water vapor in the air gently settles onto tiny particles of dust drifting high above the ground. These microscopic specks act like seeds, gathering moisture drop by drop until a soft, pale shape begins to appear. At first, the cloud is faint, almost transparent, but as more vapor condenses, it becomes thicker, smoother, and more defined. From far below, it looks effortless, as if it simply floated into existence. But every cloud is the result of countless tiny collisions, quiet and patient, happening in a space too small for us to see. What we witness is only the final artwork, a drifting sculpture of light and water suspended gently in the sky. Clouds form not with noise or pressure, but with stillness, turning the atmosphere into a canvas that is always changing, always soft, and always moving. Cirrus clouds, or cloud wisps high in the atmosphere, stretch across the sky like delicate ribbons of ice. They form at altitudes where the air is thin and cold, allowing only tiny crystals to remain suspended. These clouds rarely block sunlight. Instead, they filter it, bending the light into soft halos and subtle glows. Their thin, fibrous shapes drift slowly, spreading outward in long, feathery streaks that look almost painted. From the ground, they signal calm weather, a peaceful atmosphere, and high air that moves without turbulence. Cirrus clouds remind us that not all beauty in the sky is bold or dramatic. Some of it is quiet, understated, and almost weightless, like silk threads floating above the world. When you look up and see these pale brushstrokes stretched across blue, you are watching the sky express itself with its lightest touch. Cumulus clouds rise and billow like enormous cotton shapes, made from millions of tiny droplets gathered into soft, sunlit towers. They grow upward slowly, their rounded edges illuminated by the warm glow of the sun. These clouds look heavy and full, but inside they are unbelievably light. Carried by warm air drifting upward from the earth, Their tops puff and fold like gentle waves frozen in mid-motion, while their bases stay flat and shaded, resting quietly on a cushion of rising air. Cumulus clouds often form on peaceful afternoons. When the world feels slow and the sky looks bright and open, they appear playful and warm, yet they carry the calm stability of well-balanced air. Watching them drift can feel like watching thoughts float by, large, soft, constantly reshaping themselves, never hurried and never staying the same for long. Stratus clouds stretch across the sky in broad, smooth layers, like a soft silver blanket pulled gently from horizon to horizon. They form when cool, moist air rises just enough to condense, but not enough to build towering shapes. The result is a sky covered in quiet uniformity, muted and gentle, with light that filters through in pale, comforting tones. These clouds move slowly, often unnoticed, changing the world not with drama, but with calm shading and softened brightness. They bring a feeling of stillness to the landscape below, making sounds seem quieter and the air feel closer. Stratus clouds remind us that some days unfold like whispered moments, wrapped in a steady, unbroken calm. They are the sky at rest, drifting lightly, smoothing the edges of the day into something peaceful. Nimbostratus clouds, the rain-bearing layers of the sky, hang low and wide with a muted grey softness. Their colour is gentle, not harsh, like the quiet tone of approaching rain. Inside them, countless droplets gather in silence, merging slowly until they grow heavy enough to fall. These clouds do not rush or flash. They simply release rain at a steady, soothing pace, turning the world below into a place of soft sound and cool air. Their presence often signals a day meant for resting, reading, or reflecting. Wrapped in the comfort of consistent rainfall, nimbostratus clouds transform the sky into a calm, dim canvas where the light is diffused and shadows disappear. They carry the promise of quiet moments, two of water returning to the earth in a rhythm that is ancient, gentle, and endlessly repeating. As sunset approaches, clouds begin to glow with soft pinks and warm oranges as sunlight passes through droplets of water suspended in the sky. Each droplet acts like a tiny prism, bending the last rays of daylight into colors that gently paint the cloud's surface. The transformation is slow and comforting, like a dimming lamp warming a quiet room. The pink glow we see is the sky's final whisper before night arrives, created by light traveling farther through the atmosphere and losing its bluer tones. These warm hues wrap the clouds in a serene shimmer, turning even the simplest shapes into floating sculptures of color. Watching them drift at dusk feels like watching the day take a long, graceful bow. Their soft illumination reminds us that nature often saves its gentlest moments for the very end of daylight, offering a peaceful transition into evening. Noctilucent clouds, the glowing clouds of night, shimmer high above the earth where the air is cold and thin, made of tiny crystals of ice. They catch sunlight long after the rest of the sky has fallen into darkness. These clouds appear delicate and ghost-like, faint blue and silver, drifting slowly across the highest layers of the atmosphere. Their glow is subtle, like moonlight reflected through frosted glass. They form only during certain seasons, when temperatures far above the surface drop low enough for microscopic ice to assemble. To those who see them, noctilucent clouds feel almost unreal, as if the sky is quietly lighting itself from behind. Their gentle radiance is one of nature's softest wonders, a reminder that even in the deepest quiet of night, light still finds its way to dance softly across the sky. Every cloud moves with the wind, gliding across the sky like a small white boat on an invisible river. Some drift slowly, taking hours to cross even a small stretch of horizon, while others move swiftly, carried by stronger currents far above. From the ground, we see only their graceful progress, smooth and effortless, as if the clouds themselves are choosing their path. But they are passengers, carried gently by the shifting air beneath them. Their motion can feel soothing, a natural rhythm that mirrors the steady flow of breath. Clouds never struggle or resist. They follow the wind with perfect ease. Watching them drift can bring a quiet sense of calm, reminding us how peaceful it can be to let go and move with the moment instead of against it. In their journey, clouds show the sky's softest form of travel. Clouds play an essential role in cooling the earth by reflecting sunlight back into space. Their bright surfaces scatter incoming light, reducing the amount of heat that reaches the ground. This gentle mirror-like effect helps maintain temperatures that support life, acting as a natural balance to the warmth provided by the sun. On days when clouds blanket the sky, the world below feels noticeably cooler, shielded by their quiet protection. Even thin clouds can soften the sunlight, turning harsh rays into diffused, comforting brightness. This reflective quality creates harmony between sunlight and air, preventing the earth from overheating. Though we often think of clouds as simple decorations in the sky, they are part of a delicate system that keeps the climate stable. With each drifting shape, they guard the planet in a soft, understated way, offering shade and balance without effort. Despite appearing weightless and airy, clouds can contain millions of tons of water suspended gracefully in the sky. Each droplet is incredibly small, light enough to be carried by rising air currents. Yet collectively, they add up to immense mass. The wonder lies in how easily these droplets float, held aloft by the gentle upward motion of warm air. This delicate balance between gravity and lift allows clouds to hover, drift, and reshape themselves continuously. Their light appearance hides their tremendous scale, making their presence feel comforting rather than heavy. Even the largest storm clouds float with surprising ease, moving across the sky as though they weigh nothing at all. This quiet contradiction reminds us that nature often holds great weight with great gentleness, keeping vast amounts of water suspended in calm equilibrium high above the world. Rain begins with countless tiny droplets forming high within a cloud, each one a small sphere of water condensed from vapor. At first, these droplets are too light to fall, floating gently in the air, currents swirling inside the cloud. But as they collide softly with one another, they merge, growing larger and heavier with each meeting. Over time, the droplets become too weighty to remain suspended, and they begin a slow descent toward the earth. Their fall is quiet, guided by gravity and shaped by the air below. When rain finally reaches the ground, it carries the memory of its long journey through the sky. The sound of raindrops touching leaves, roofs, and soil is a soft reminder of the delicate processes unfolding above us. Drop by drop, moment by moment, rain begins not with force, but with gentle gathering. Fog forms when cool air comes into contact with moisture near the ground, creating a cloud that settles close to the Earth's surface. Unlike the clouds high above, Fog wraps the world in a soft, muted blanket, quieting sound and smoothing the edges of the landscape. It gathers slowly, drifting across fields, forests, and lakes with a calm that feels almost otherworldly. Each tiny droplet within the fog floats gently, light enough to remain suspended, yet dense enough to blur distant shapes. Walking through fog can feel like moving through a dream, where the world becomes quieter and the air feels thick and cool against the skin. It is a cloud that has descended to earth, not to obscure, but to soften, bringing a sense of stillness to everything it touches. Drizzle falls with a delicacy that makes it feel less like rain and more like the sky exhaling. The droplets are tiny, almost mist-like, floating downward rather than dropping with weight. They settle on grass, skin, and stone like a fine veil of cool moisture, leaving behind a gentle sheen. Drizzle forms when clouds are too shallow or too warm to produce heavy rain, creating instead a tender and persistent fall that refreshes without overwhelming. It is one of nature's quietest weather patterns, soft enough to feel calming yet steady enough to mark the passage of time. Standing in drizzle can feel like being wrapped in a thin, refreshing breath from the sky. A reminder that not all rain needs to arrive with sound or intensity. Sometimes, the sky simply returns its moisture with softness. Tropical downpours begin with warm, moisture, rich air rising quickly into towering clouds. Once inside, the air cools fast, releasing heavy bursts of rain that fall with impressive speed. Yet despite their intensity, these rains are often brief, arriving suddenly and ending just as quickly. They wash the air clean, cool the ground, and leave behind the fresh scent of wet earth and new beginnings. In tropical regions, these downpours are part of the daily rhythm, forming in the afternoon heat and fading before evening arrives. For those who experience them, the sound is both powerful and soothing, a steady roar that lasts only long enough to feel refreshing rather than overwhelming. When the rain ends, the world feels renewed, wrapped in cool air and shimmering light. Hail forms when strong updrafts within a thunderstorm carry raindrops upward into colder layers of the atmosphere. There, the droplets freeze, then fall, only to be lifted again by the rising air. Each cycle adds another thin layer of ice, building the hailstone slowly, like a small crystal being shaped in the sky. When the updraft weakens or the stone becomes too heavy, it finally falls toward the ground. Though hail often seems harsh, the process that creates it is surprisingly intricate and delicate, requiring precise balances of wind, temperature, and moisture. Inside a hailstone, you can find rings recording each ascent and descent, like the growth rings of a tree. Even in storms, nature works with patience, crafting shapes within clouds before releasing them back to earth. Raindrops are naturally round because of surface tension, a gentle force that pulls water molecules toward one another. This invisible pressure smooths each droplet into a perfect sphere as it forms inside the cloud. Only when a raindrop begins to fall does the air beneath it stretch it slightly, turning it from a sphere into a soft teardrop shape. But in their earliest moments, raindrops are as round as pearls, floating weightlessly inside the cloud before gravity invites them downward. This roundness is nature's quiet way of balancing forces, creating symmetry in something as small as a droplet. When you see rain sliding down a window, each bead still carries the memory of that original perfect shape formed high above, held together by the gentle touch of molecular attraction. Rainbows appear when sunlight bends through raindrops, separating into bands of color that arc across the sky. Each droplet acts like a tiny prism, splitting white light into reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, and violets. The colors are always arranged in the same order, always soft, and always fleeting. Rainbows form only when the angle between the sun, a raindrop, and your eyes is just right, making each one a personal moment of alignment with nature. Despite their beauty, rainbows are incredibly quiet, created not by sound or pressure, but by the peaceful bending of light. They serve as gentle reminders that even on rainy days, there is room for color and wonder. A rainbow is sunlight, finding its way through water to greet you with softness. Dew forms at night when the ground cools faster than the air above it, as surfaces lose warmth. Moisture in the air condenses into tiny beads of water that rest gently on leaves, grass, and stone. Each droplet forms silently, gathering in the stillness of early morning hours. Dew sparkles at sunrise, reflecting the first light of the day in countless tiny points. It is one of nature's quietest transformations, taking place without wind, without sound, and without rush. The formation of dew is a small, peaceful reminder of how temperature and moisture interact in delicate harmony. It softens the world overnight, adding freshness to mornings and nourishing plants with a thin layer of moisture that feels almost magical in its simplicity. Water vapor rises into the atmosphere continuously, feeding the cycle of rain with a steady, gentle flow. Every body of water, from oceans to puddles, releases moisture into the air through evaporation. Warmth encourages this upward drift, lifting tiny molecules skyward where they gather into clouds. Even when the air feels dry, evaporation never truly stops. It is a constant process, invisible but essentiel, adding softness to the atmosphere and preparing the sky for future rainfall. Without this movement, clouds would fade, rivers would shrink, and the cycle of water would break. Instead, vapor rises with quiet persistence, renewing the sky day after day. It is the world breathing upward, sending life into the air in the form of drifting, unseen moisture. Every rainstorm is part of the water cycle, a journey that returns water to the place it once came from. Raindrops that fall on fields may seep into the soil, feeding roots. Drops that land on rooftops may flow into rivers. Others evaporate again within minutes, rising back into the sky to begin the cycle once more. This movement has occurred for millions of years, repeating with calm reliability. Rain is not an end or a beginning, but a continuation of nature's oldest loop, water traveling, transforming, and returning home. Each storm, no matter how small, participates in this steady rhythm. When rain falls softly outside your window, it is part of a vast, peaceful system that nourishes oceans, forests, and every living thing. It is water finding its way back. Again and again, thunder begins when hot air inside a lightning channel expands rapidly, creating a wave of pressure that travels outward into the sky. Though this expansion is fast, the sound it creates often reaches us softened and stretched by the layers of atmosphere it must pass through. By the time thunder arrives at your ears, it feels distant, muted, like a giant drum being struck slowly far across a valley. Even powerful bolts of lightning produce thunder that the air itself gently calms. smoothing the harshness into a low, rolling sound. This is why thunder can feel more soothing than frightening when heard from indoors, wrapped in warmth and safety. It becomes a reminder that the atmosphere acts as a buffer, absorbing intensity and delivering only the softened echo. In this way, thunder teaches us that even loud beginnings can end in gentleness. Lightning forms from the natural balance of electrical charges between clouds and the earth, creating a sudden bridge of energy that restores harmony in the sky. Inside a storm, ice crystals and droplets collide in silence, building up electric potential slowly and patiently. When the difference becomes too great, lightning appears a brief, bright flash that reconnects the atmosphere's scattered charges. Though lightning looks fierce, its purpose is peaceful, to release tension quietly gathering within the cloud. The flash itself is over in an instant, illuminating the sky like a soft camera shutter before fading into stillness. Afterward, the air feels fresher, cooler, and cleaner, as if the storm has exhaled. Lightning is not chaos, it is correction, to a natural moment of balance returning to the sky with a beauty that is swift and fleeting. Thunderstorm clouds, known as cumulonimbus, grow upward in layers, forming shapes that resemble towering castles made entirely of water vapor. Warm air rising from the ground lifts moisture higher and higher, where it cools and condenses into billowing sections that stack gently upon one another. These clouds can stretch miles into the sky, yet their edges remain soft, rounded, and bright. Their appearance is dramatic but never harsh, more like sculpted mist than rigid stone. Watching a storm cloud develop is like watching an enormous structure take shape slowly, guided by invisible hands. Each new layer drifts upward with grace, creating a majestic form that floats rather than stands. Even though these clouds can produce rain and lightning, their shape reminds us that storms begin with rising warmth and gentle condensation, not violence, before rain arrives. A subtle drop in air pressure spreads a coolness across the land, signaling the atmosphere's shift. This cooling is caused by air being drawn upward into the developing storm, leaving a soft vacuum that pulls fresh, cooler air toward the ground. Many people recognize this moment instinctively: the quiet pause, the sudden freshness, the faint scent of moisture in the air. It feels like nature preparing the world for what comes next, adjusting the temperature with a slow, calming hand. This pre-rain coolness often brings relief on warm days, relaxing the landscape and offering a moment of stillness. Though storms can seem intense, their approach often begins with this gentle breath, a peaceful balancing of air that touches the skin like a soft warning wrapped in comfort. Thunder travels through the atmosphere as sound waves that stretch and fade the farther they move. Along the way, layers of warm and cool air bend and soften the sound, turning the sharp initial crack into a rolling rumble that drifts across the sky. This is why thunder often resembles a drum beat echoing from far away, deep and resonant, but rarely startling when heard indoors or at a distance. The atmosphere acts like a giant quilt of air, absorbing the harsher tones and releasing only the softened remainder. Even long rumbles are simply reflections bouncing through clouds and terrain, spreading the sound gently over miles. In this way, thunder becomes part of nature's slow soundtrack, a reminder that even the sky's loudest moments pass through layers of calm before reaching us. Cloud lightning, the flashes that appear deep within storm clouds, glows only for a brief moment before fading back into darkness. These soft illuminations occur when charges move between different parts of the cloud rather than reaching the ground. Because the light stays contained inside the cloud, it spreads gently through the water droplets and ice crystals, creating a muted, cotton-like glow instead of a sharp streak. From afar, it looks like the cloud is quietly flickering from within, as if someone lit a small lantern behind a curtain of mist. These hidden flashes are some of the calmest expressions of lightning, bright enough to notice, yet gentle enough to soothe. Their brief appearance reminds us that even in storms, light can arrive softly and leave without disturbance. Thunder over the ocean can travel much farther than on land because the surface of the water reflects sound in smooth, uninterrupted waves. When lightning strikes offshore, the resulting thunder glides across the sea like a deep, musical note, carrying its resonance for miles. The open water acts as a natural amplifier, allowing the sound to stretch and soften as it moves. From a distant shore, this thunder feels low and soothing, almost like the hum of a distant engine or the roll of a faraway drum. It arrives without sharp edges, shaped by the air and sea into something calming. Sailors and coastal dwellers have long recognized the peaceful quality of ocean thunder, a reminder that even strong storms can create moments of quiet beauty when paired with the wide, reflective surface of the sea. The strong gusts that appear before a storm are caused by air rushing inward toward a region of lower pressure. As the atmosphere tries to balance itself, cooler and denser air flows quickly into the gap, creating sudden bursts of wind. Though these gusts can seem abrupt, they are simply the planet adjusting in real time, moving air from one place to another in an effort to restore equilibrium. Many people feel these winds as a cool sweep across their skin, carrying the scent of rain or the earthy smell of wet soil rising from the ground. This pre-storm wind is nature's way of preparing the landscape, clearing heat from the air and signaling that rain is on the way. It is a transition, a moment of movement before stillness returns. Most storms weaken once they move inland because they lose access to the warm ocean water that fuels their strength. Over the sea, storms draw energy from evaporating moisture and rising heat, but when they cross onto land, that steady source of warmth disappears, and the storm begins to relax. Winds slow, clouds thin, and rain becomes more scattered. The transformation is gradual and peaceful, as if the storm is settling down after a long journey. This natural weakening process protects inland regions and demonstrates the atmosphere's desire to return to balance. Even the most powerful storms cannot maintain their strength forever. Once separated from their source of energy, they soften into calmer weather patterns. It is a reminder that intensity in nature is always temporary, giving way to gentler rhythms. Even the strongest storms follow stable, predictable rules set by temperature, pressure, and moisture. These natural laws guide every gust of wind and every drop of rain, ensuring that storms form, move, and fade in patterns that repeat across seasons and centuries. Though storms may look chaotic, their behavior is deeply organized, shaped by forces that act slowly and consistently. Understanding these rules reveals the quiet structure beneath the apparent drama, showing that storms are simply part of the atmosphere's way of redistributing heat and energy when viewed from space. Even hurricanes appear calm at their center, spiraling with a beauty that reflects order rather than chaos. This underlying stability reminds us that nature's power is balanced by nature's patience, and that every storm is just one chapter in the sky's long, gentle cycle, Earth's tilt of 23, 5 degrees creates the 4 gentle seasons, shaping the rhythm of the planet in a way that feels almost like a slow-motion dance. Because of this tilt, sunlight touches different parts of the world with varying angles throughout the year, delivering warmth softly to one hemisphere while allowing the other to cool and rest. This continuous shifting of light is never abrupt. It unfolds over months, letting life gradually adapt to each change. Plants bloom, migrate, shed leaves, or sleep according to this cosmic choreography. Without the tilt, the world would be locked in one unchanging climate. Instead, we have a cycle that refreshes the Earth again and again, giving every region moments of warmth, calm, growth, and stillness. The tilt is a small angle with a large impact, guiding the seasons with a touch as gentle as passing light. Spring arrives when the ground warms just enough for moisture to rise again into the air. After winter's long quiet, sunlight slowly returns, softening frozen soil and waking hidden seeds beneath the surface. As the earth warms, water evaporates in delicate waves, feeding early clouds and carrying the scent of new growth through the air. This gentle lift of moisture marks the beginning of spring's renewal. Buds open, stream run clearer, and the world brightens with a slower, softer rhythm. Nothing about spring hurries. It unfolds in whispers, with longer days, mild breezes, and the faint warmth of the sun brushing the land. The rising vapor that forms morning mist and afternoon clouds is a sign that the planet is breathing again, preparing for a season of quiet abundance. Summer grows warm because sunlight strikes the earth more directly, concentrating its energy into long, bright days. This direct angle warms land and water with a steady, unbroken glow, encouraging plants to grow tall and filling the air with soft waves of heat. Though summer feels intense at times, its warmth builds gradually, like a slow fire kindled over weeks. The atmosphere becomes more active, lifting warm air skyward and forming tall, white clouds that drift peacefully overhead. Even on the hottest days, the cycle remains balanced, powered by nothing more than sunlight touching the land at a closer angle. Summer is the earth at its most awake, glowing with energy, given freely and consistently by the sun. Yet beneath the warmth lies the same calm, predictable rhythm that governs every season. Autumn settles gently over the world as the sun begins to retreat, lowering its angle in the sky and softening the intensity of daylight. Temperatures ease, leaves shift to warm shades, and the atmosphere cools enough to slow evaporation. The air becomes calm, carrying the crisp scent of drying leaves and cooler nights. This transition is gradual, giving the earth a long, peaceful exhale after the bright energy of summer. Autumn is a season of release, where trees let go of what they no longer need and landscapes grow quieter. The softer sunlight paints hills and forests with golden tones, creating a warm stillness that invites rest. As the sun steps back little by little, the world prepares for the quieter rhythm to come. Winter arrives when long nights and a weaker sun allow the earth to cool into stillness. Without strong sunlight, warmth slowly drains from the ground, letting frost form and snow settle with calm precision. The air grows crisp and clear, holding sound differently, making the world feel peaceful and hushed. Winter is not a harsh interruption, but a necessary pause, giving the land time to rest after a year of growth. Under snow, seeds sleep, rivers move slower, forests quiet themselves. Even the atmosphere behaves more gently, with soft clouds and quiet nights that stretch longer than any other season. Winter teaches the world to slow down, to hold itself in patience, and to wait for the sun to return with new warmth. The cycle of seasons has repeated steadily for millions of years, guided by Earth's tilt and orbit in a rhythm as ancient as the planet itself. This pattern has endured ice ages, shifting continents, and countless generations of life, yet it remains beautifully consistent. Each year, the planet leans toward the sun and then away again, creating a soft pulse of warmth, cooling, growth, and rest. Life has adapted so deeply to this rhythm that forests, oceans, and even microscopic organisms move in harmony with it. The seasons are Earth's long, slow heartbeat, a dependable pulse that continues through every change the planet faces. Their predictability brings stability, reminding us that some things remain constant, even across vast spans of time. Snow falls when ice crystals form in the clouds, each one shaped by temperature and humidity into delicate, symmetrical patterns as vapor freezes. It arranges itself into intricate designs that are both complex and calming, drifting to the ground with graceful slowness. No two snowflakes form exactly the same way, yet each carries the same gentle beauty. Unique but familiar. When snow begins to fall, the world below grows quieter, as if the air itself is softening. Sound becomes muffled, light becomes diffuse, and everything feels wrapped in a cool, soothing stillness. Snow is winter's art, tiny frozen flowers created silently in the sky and delivered gently to the earth. Monsoon winds shift in response to differences in heating between land and ocean, creating a rhythmic pattern of wet and dry seasons. As continents warm in summer, rising air draws moisture, rich winds inland, bringing clouds and nourishing rains. When the land cools in winter, the winds reverse direction, flowing back toward the sea. This gentle ebb and flow has shaped cultures, agriculture, and ecosystems for thousands of years. Though monsoons can appear strong, their origin lies in simple, patient interactions between heat and air. They are a slow conversation between land and ocean, repeated year after year, guiding life through cycles of abundance and rest. Ocean temperatures influence global climate by storing and releasing heat with remarkable steadiness. Warm water circulates through vast currents, transporting energy across the planet in slow, predictable paths. These oceanic rivers help regulate weather, shape rainfall patterns, and maintain balance between seasons. Even small changes in sea surface temperature can shift entire climates, demonstrating how deeply connected the ocean is to the sky. Yet despite its power, the ocean works quietly, absorbing sunlight in summer and releasing gentle warmth during winter. It is Earth's thermal memory, smoothing extremes and guiding long-term weather with calm persistence. Each season carries a rhythm that softens the planet, offering distinct moments of rest, renewal, warmth, and stillness. Spring encourages new life with gentle warmth. Summer fills the world with bright energy. Autumn cools the land with calm breezes and golden light. Winter hushes everything beneath a soft, quiet blanket. Together, these seasons create a natural balance that sustains ecosystems and brings a soothing sense of order to life on Earth. Their cyclical nature reassures us that change can be peaceful, predictable, and deeply comforting. Wind shapes rock over thousands or even millions of years, smoothing sharp edges and carving soft curves into the landscape. Each breeze carries tiny grains of sand or dust that gently brush against the stone, wearing it down so slowly that the change is almost impossible to notice in a single lifetime. Over long ages, these subtle touches become significant, rounding cliffs, softening boulders, and sculpting arches, pillars, and waves of stone. The process is patient, quiet, and deeply natural, a dialogue between air and earth that never needs force. When we see rock formations shaped by the wind, we are really seeing the result of countless gentle movements working together across vast spans of time. It is weather acting as an artist, using nothing but motion and persistence to turn solid stone into flowing shapes that look as soft as the winds that formed them. Rain creates valleys and streams by following the natural curves of the land, slowly finding paths where water can flow with ease. Each rainfall sends tiny rivulets across the soil, carrying small particles with it and carving channels that deepen over centuries. What begins as a faint groove eventually becomes a stream, and with time, a full valley takes form. This shaping is never abrupt. It happens drop by drop, storm by storm, in a rhythm so slow that the landscape seems to breathe into its new contours. Rain nourishes the land as it shapes it, leaving behind fresh soil, new paths for water, and gentle meanders that guide future storms. When you look at a valley today, you are seeing the quiet collaboration of rain and earth, working together through ages to form a soft, flowing design in the terrain. Ocean storms help create fine, smooth sand along coastlines by breaking down shells, stones, and coral into tiny grains. Although storms can appear powerful, the process of forming sand is gentle and steady, happening as waves roll fragments over one another again and again until they soften into smooth particles. These grains then wash ashore, covering beaches with soft layers that shift with each tide. Over time, storms bring new material from the deep ocean, replenishing coastlines and shaping their contours. Even the roughest waves contribute to this delicate work, grinding rock into powder with the help of water's persistent motion. Standing on a beach, the softness beneath your feet is the result of millions of years of natural refinement, a quiet reminder that even the strongest forces in nature often create beauty through slow, repetitive touche. Snow compacts into ice when layer upon layer presses down gently over long periods of time. As more snow falls, the weight above squeezes the flakes into dense crystals, gradually forming a sheet of glacier ice. Once thick enough, these glaciers begin to move, slowly and steadily, like rivers of frozen water traveling down valleys. Their pace is incredibly slow, just a few centimeters or meters per year, yet their movement is constant, shaping mountains and carving deep basins as they glide across the land. Though glaciers are powerful, their actions are silent and smooth, leaving behind polished stone and wide, curved valleys that speak of long patience. They hold within them thousands of years of snowfall, memories of winters long gone, and the steady force of time transforming snow into motion. Wind creates waves on the surface of the ocean by brushing across the water with continuous, gentle pressure. Each gust transfers a bit of energy into the sea, lifting small ripples that grow and spread outward. These ripples join into larger waves, traveling across vast distances with a rhythm that feels almost like breathing. Even on calm days, the ocean is always moving because the wind is always touching it, shaping the surface into patterns that shift and shimmer in the light. Waves bring life to the coastline, oxygen to the water, and motion to an otherwise still world. They rise and fall with soothing consistency, a reminder that the connection between air and water is constant and harmonious. Watching waves roll toward the shore is watching the wind express itself through the sea. Wind helps seeds travel far from the plants that created them, carrying life gently across fields, forests, and open landscapes. Some seeds are shaped like tiny wings, catching even the lightest breeze to float softly through the air. Others use silky threads or delicate structures that allow them to drift upward before settling into new soil. This quiet movement ensures that plants can spread and thrive in places they could never reach on their own. In this way, wind becomes an essential partner in life's expansion, guiding seeds with patience and grace. Eikust, whether strong or soft, becomes a messenger of growth, helping forests regenerate, meadows evolve, and ecosystems maintain diversity. The journey of a floating seed is one of nature's most peaceful migrations, driven entirely by the atmosphere's gentle hand. Rain nourishes plants by delivering the water they need to grow, all flourish, and remain resilient through changing seasons. When rain falls, it seeps into the soil, collecting around roots and carrying dissolved nutrients that sustain life underground. Streams rise, lakes fill, and rivers flow more freely after each rainfall, connecting distant ecosystems with fresh water. Even light rain refreshes leaves, washing away dust and allowing sunlight to reach them more easily. Over centuries, rain has carved the paths that water takes across the land, creating networks of streams that support life in every corner of the world. Without rain, landscapes would dry, forests would shrink, and many forms of life would struggle to survive. With it, the world remains green, thriving, and in harmony. Rain is one of Earth's gentlest gifts, arriving softly and quietly to sustain everything it touches. Storms carry nutrients from the ocean to the land, enriching soil and helping ecosystems flourish. Powerful waves churn the sea, lifting minerals and organic material toward the surface. Winds then carry this nutrient-rich spray inland, where it settles onto forests, fields, and mountains. Over long periods of time, these deposits become part of the soil, feeding plants and supporting the growth of entire habitats. Though storms can seem intense, this quiet exchange of nourishment is one of their most important roles. They help move essential elements from one environment to another, connecting land and sea in a balanced, natural cycle. In coastal regions, many plants depend on these nutrients to thrive, and storms ensure this exchange continues. Even the strongest winds can bring life with them, leaving behind healthier ecosystems once the sky is clear. Temperature plays a crucial role in helping animals determine when to breed, migrate, or raise their young. As the air warms in spring, many species sense the change and begin preparing for reproduction, knowing that food and shelter will soon be plentiful. Cooler temperatures in autumn signal others to migrate or store resources for the months ahead. These temperature cues are subtle, arriving gradually in ways that align perfectly with nature's rhythm. Animals follow these signals instinctively, trusting the weather to guide their cycles of life. This connection between temperature and behavior ensures that species remain in harmony with their environment, timing their actions to match the availability of resources. It is a silent communication between the atmosphere and living creatures, guiding them through the year with gentle precision. Nighttime dew provides vital moisture to plants in dry or arid regions, offering hydration when rainfall is scarce. As temperatures drop after sunset, the ground cools and causes water vapor in the air to condense into tiny droplets on leaves, grasses, and soil. These droplets may be small, but together they create a refreshing layer that nourishes plants through the night. Dew helps reduce stress on vegetation, allowing it to survive long stretches without rain. In some ecosystems, dew is one of the primary sources of moisture, sustaining delicate flowers, mosses, and even small insects that drink from the droplets. This gentle process unfolds quietly, without storms or wind, relying only on cooling air and natural cycles. Dew is one of nature's softest gifts, arriving silently and disappearing with sunrise, yet sustaining life in the calmest possible way. Sea breezes help regulate temperatures along coastlines by carrying cool, refreshing air from the ocean inland. During the day, land heats up faster than water, creating a gentle pull that draws cooler marine air toward the shore. This steady flow softens the heat of summer afternoons, making coastal regions feel more comfortable and balanced. Sea breezes also bring moisture that supports coastal vegetation and helps moderate daily temperature swings. Their rhythm is predictable, returning each day with the rising sun and fading again at dusk. These breezes are nature's quiet way of smoothing extremes, offering relief to people, plants, and animals living near the shore. Their soft touch creates climates where life can flourish in calm harmony. Snowstorms deliver moisture that becomes a vital water supply once winter ends. As snow accumulates on mountains and hillsides, it forms a natural reservoir, held gently in cold storage. When spring arrives, warmer temperatures melt the snow slowly, allowing water to seep into the soil, replenish rivers, and fill lakes. This gradual release prevents flooding and ensures a steady supply for ecosystems that depend on spring runoff. Snow may fall in thick, swirling layers, but its purpose is nurturing, preparing the land for renewal. Plants emerge greener, forests awaken, and entire watersheds thrive because winter saved what spring will need. Snowstorms appear fierce for a moment, yet they sustain life with deep patience and quiet generosity. Lightning helps create nitrates, essential nutrients that enrich soil and support plant growth. When a bolt flashes across the sky, the intense heat briefly breaks apart nitrogen molecules in the air. As the molecules recombine, they form compounds that dissolve into raindrops, falling gently to the ground. This natural fertilization process has nourished Earth for millions of years, long before humans learned to cultivate crops. Each storm leaves behind a subtle trail of nourishment, helping plants grow stronger and greener. This quiet benefit is hidden within the brilliance of lightning and the rolling echoes of thunder. It is a reminder that even the sky's most dramatic displays contain moments of gentle generosity, feeding the land with ingredients essential for life. Water vapor in the air plays an important role in helping us breathe comfortably. When humidity is balanced, the moisture keeps our airways from drying out, allowing each breath to feel smooth and easy. This soft layer of vapor also warms the air slightly, making it feel more soothing as it enters the lungs. Without humidity, the air can feel harsh or sharp, but with it, each inhale feels like a gentle cushion. Plants also rely on this moisture, releasing vapor through their leaves and contributing to the natural humidity around us. The constant presence of water vapor creates a sense of harmony between the atmosphere and our bodies, supporting life in a quiet, unobtrusive way. Small changes in weather create the conditions for astonishing biodiversity. A shift in temperature, a bit more rainfall, or a slightly stronger wind can influence which plants thrive, which animals migrate, and which habitats expand. Over time, these subtle variations shape forests, deserts, wetlands, and grasslands, giving each region its own unique character. Weather patterns determine the blooming of flowers, the nesting of birds, and the movement of insects, forming an interconnected web of life that adapts gently to every fluctuation. Without these small changes, the world would be uniform and still. Instead, life evolves in endless forms because the atmosphere never stops adjusting, shaping and reshaping ecosystems with delicate influence. Trees quietly store the memory of past weather within their growth rings, forming a natural archive that stretches across centuries. Each ring tells the story of a single year on Earth. A wide ring may reflect a season rich in rain and sunlight, while a narrow one reveals hardship, drought, or cold. Scientists can read these rings like a diary, tracing heat waves, storms, fires, and even volcanic winters that dimmed the sky long ago. The wood holds these records gently, never speaking aloud, simply carrying them forward in silence. When a tree lives for hundreds of years, it becomes a witness to countless shifts in climate, quietly holding knowledge older than entire civilizations. Through its rings, the past whispers its patterns, reminding us that time moves slowly, and that each season leaves a soft mark on the world. Ancient ice preserves the atmosphere of long-forgotten eras in tiny trapped bubbles. As snow fell layer upon layer in polar regions, it compressed into ice sheets that store snapshots of weather stretching back thousands of years. Within these bubbles are traces of old air-oxygen ratios, volcanic ash, soot, and silent hints of temperature changes. Scientists drill deep into these frozen layers to read the planet's past, uncovering stories of glacial winds, warm interglacial periods, and abrupt shifts in climate. Each bubble is a fragile time capsule, untouched since the moment it formed. When brought to the surface, it whispers secrets from ages before human memory existed. The ice does not judge or exaggerate, it simply preserves, offering a calm, steady chronicle of Earth's atmospheric heartbeats across eons. Ocean sediments cradle long histories of ancient weather within their quiet layers. Over thousands of years, tiny shells, mineral grains, and organic particles drift to the seafloor, settling like soft pages in a vast underwater archive. Each layer contains chemical clues about sea temperature, rainfall patterns, and even the strength of past winds. By examining these sediments, scientists can reconstruct monsoons, drought cycles, and warm periods that shaped life on Earth. Unlike the turbulence above, the deep ocean stores everything in stillness, allowing its memory to remain undisturbed for millennia. These sediments are patient storytellers, recording seasons that no human ever witnessed. Their layers remind us that the planet breathes through long rhythms, and that weather is not merely a moment, but a vast continuum written quietly beneath the waves. Sedimentary rocks hold gentle records of ancient weather, preserving stories of droughts, floods, and shifting climates. Built layer by layer from mud, sand, and minerals, these rocks form like stacked chapters recounting the moods of Earth. Ripple marks speak of old streams. Cracked surfaces recall seasons of dryness, and smooth, rounded grains show the path of long-lost rivers. When geologists read these rocks, they can trace the movement of storms, the rise and fall of lakes, and the return of rainfall after long, quiet droughts. The rocks do not rush to reveal their stories. They share them slowly, patiently, through texture and color. Within each layer lies a gentle footprint of weather long gone, reminding us how landscapes evolve under the steady hand of time. Fossil pollen carries delicate memories of ancient plant life and the climates they lived through. Each grain is incredibly small, yet resilient enough to survive for tens of thousands of years in layers of soil, peat, or lake sediments. By examining these grains, scientists can learn which forests thrived, which species disappeared, and how rainfall and temperature shifted over long periods. Pollen tells of warm eras when lush vegetation covered wide regions, and colder times when forests retreated and grasses spread. These tiny fossils are like whispers from vanished ecosystems, revealing how life responded to every change in weather. Even though they are microscopic, their stories are vast, connecting the present landscape to worlds that existed long before human memory began. Coral reefs quietly record sea temperatures layer by layer, forming natural timelines beneath calm tropical waters. As corals grow, they add thin bands of calcium carbonate. Much like tree rings, these bands vary subtly depending on the warmth or coolness of the ocean around them, capturing signals of past El Niño cycles, warm currents, and cooling periods. Scientists can read these layers to understand centuries of marine climate, including changes no human ever witnessed. Even small shifts in ocean temperature leave delicate chemical fingerprints inside the coral skeleton. Though the reef appears still on the surface, it carries a deep memory of tides, storms, and sunlight that shaped its growth. Each layer is a quiet page in the ocean's long diary, connecting the present moment to a distant, shimmering past. Ice cores reflect the rise and fall of atmospheric CO2 with remarkable clarity, preserving the breath of ancient air trapped for tens of thousands of years. As snow falls in polar regions, it captures tiny bubbles of atmosphere that freeze into place, sealing away a perfect sample of the world at that time. These bubbles reveal how carbon dioxide changed with glacial cycles, volcanic eruptions, and shifts in ocean circulation. The ice layers themselves form a soft, frozen library, each layer marking a year of Earth's climate story. By studying them, scientists can trace long arcs of warming and cooling that unfolded slowly and naturally. The ice does not rush. It holds these memories gently, offering a calm, steady record of the atmosphere's heartbeat across ages far older than human civilization. Ancient River left subtle trace across Earth's surface, marking their paths long after the water disappeared. These fossilized riverbeds can be found in deserts, mountains, and even deep underground, preserved as patterns of gravel, silt, and smooth channels carved by flowing water. Their shapes reveal where currents ran fast, where they slowed, and how they shifted over centuries. When scientists examine these features, they can reconstruct rainfall patterns, past climates, and the landscapes that early life once inhabited, even though the rivers themselves have vanished. Their gentle marks remain, like footprints stored in stone. These silent channels remind us that weather once moved here: storms, floods, and long dry seasons, all shaping the terrain in ways that continue to guide ecosystems and water paths today. They are calm echoes of worlds we can only imagine now. Acid rain, long ago, left behind distinct stone layers that quietly reveal the atmosphere's changing chemistry. When volcanic eruptions or industrial activity altered the balance of gases in the sky, rainwater became slightly more acidic, interacting with minerals on the landscape. Over centuries, this produced characteristic patterns in limestone, sandstone, and even soil. These layers show softened surfaces, dissolved edges, and chemical signatures that scientists can read, like passages from a weathered book, though the term acid rain may sound harsh. Its geological record appears subtle and calm: thin lines, gentle discoloration, or mineral rearrangements. These soft clues help researchers understand atmospheric shifts that happened long before modern measurements existed. In stone, the memory persists, not as alarm, but as a quiet reminder of how skies once changed. Ancient storms can be identified through special sediment layers, formed when powerful winds or floods carried unique mixtures of sand, shells, or organic debris. These layers settle quickly during extreme events, creating sharp boundaries within otherwise slow, steady deposits. By studying their composition, scientists can detect hurricanes, monsoons, and massive floods that happened thousands of years ago. Some layers contain heavier grains that only strong storms could move. Others hold marine materials pushed far inland. Though the storms themselves were chaotic, their geological record is soft and orderly, a calm arrangement of particles that quietly tell a dramatic story. Over time, these storm signatures become part of Earth's layered memory, allowing us to glimpse weather events that shaped coastlines and ecosystems long before human observation. Air moves around Earth in one continuous, gentle flow, forming an endless dance that never truly stops. Even when the world feels still, molecules drift silently, carrying warmth, moisture, and tiny traces of distant places. This movement creates global circulation patterns that connect mountains, oceans, forests, and deserts in soft, unseen ways. A breeze that begins over a quiet sea may eventually brush the surface of a faraway continent. The air we breathe today once traveled through storms, sunlight, and moonlit skies, gathering a history older than any human journey. Though invisible, this circulation is tender and rhythmic, guiding weather with a calm persistence. It is a slow, planetary pulse, steady, ancient, and comforting, reminding us that we live within an atmosphere that wraps our world like a protective, breathing shell. Changes in air pressure create a subtle rhythm across the atmosphere, forming patterns too soft for the human eye to notice. High pressure brings clear, calm skies, while low pressure invites clouds and gentle winds. These shifts happen constantly, weaving an intricate tapestry that governs the movement of weather. The air moves not with force, but with balance, adjusting itself to maintain harmony between warm and cool regions. Every rise and fall of pressure is part of a vast, quiet conversation taking place across continents and oceans. Even powerful storms begin with tiny variations in pressure, small ripples that grow over time. Yet despite their enormity, these pressure patterns are fundamentally peaceful, like the slow inhale and exhale of the planet. They remind us that the atmosphere has its own heartbeat, steady and quiet, guiding each day into the next. Clouds travel across the oceans like long, drifting white trains, pushed gently by wide atmospheric currents. From above, they stretch into endless lines, moving with grace at speeds that feel effortless from the ground. These clouds collect moisture from warm seas, carry it across vast distances, and release it as rain over distant lands. Their journey connects water cycles across the planet, bringing life to forests, farms, and rivers far from where they formed. Even when the sky looks empty, new clouds are always gathering beyond the horizon. Shaped by invisible movements of air, they travel in silence, never leaving footprints, yet marking time with their slow transitions from morning gold to evening rose. Each passing cloud is a reminder of how softly the atmosphere works, calm, patient, and endlessly creative in the way it paints the sky. Warm air rises quietly, a gentle motion that shapes much of Earth's weather without making a sound. This upward drift begins whenever sunlight warms the ground, causing the air above it to expand and grow lighter. As it rises, it cools, forming clouds or creating soft breezes that move across fields and city streets. This cycle, warm air lifting, cool air sinking, is simple yet fundamental, supporting everything from afternoon winds to towering tropical storms. But at its core, it is peaceful, like a silent current flowing upward through the sky. No rush, no force, just the natural tendency of heat to climb. This subtle motion forms the backbone of atmospheric balance, redistributing energy from place to place in a calm, continuous loop. It is the quiet architecture of weather, unfolding every day above us without needing attention or applause. Cold air slips down valleys and slopes with a quiet grace, guided by gravity and nighttime cooling. As the sun sets and the land radiates heat away, the air near the ground grows denser and begins its slow descent. This flow is gentle, almost imperceptible, yet it can shape local weather by creating pockets of stillness or morning fog. In mountain regions, these cold air streams move like invisible rivers, settling into low areas and forming natural reservoirs of coolness. They bring clarity to the night sky, calm to the landscape, and often a refreshing crispness at dawn. Despite their subtlety, these downward motions play an essential role in balancing temperatures, maintaining the soft rhythm that allows ecosystems to thrive. They remind us that even the simplest movements of air carry purpose, flowing quietly through the world in harmony with the turning of the earth. Oceans hold warmth with extraordinary patience, absorbing sunlight throughout long days and releasing it slowly into the air above them. This gentle exchange stabilizes climate, softens seasonal changes, and creates calm breezes that drift toward shorelines. Even after sunset, the sea continues to share its stored heat, keeping coastal nights mild and comforting. This slow release acts like a quiet heartbeat, maintaining balance between day and night. Over centuries, ocean warmth guides global currents, influences rainfall patterns, and shapes the rhythms of life for countless species. Though waves may seem lively on the surface, the deeper layers move with incredible steadiness, holding memories of ancient sunlight. This warm reservoir connects past and present, carrying energy across the planet in a peaceful, continuous flow that supports the atmosphere's gentle dance. Windless nights are when the atmosphere reaches its deepest balance, settling into a calm state that feels almost sacred. As daytime heating fades, the air grows still, allowing temperature layers to gently align. Without gusts or turbulence, sounds become softer, stars appear sharper, and the world feels unusually quiet. During these moments, moisture settles into dew, nocturnal animals move more cautiously, and cool air pools in valleys like a silent tide. This stillness is not emptiness, it is equilibrium. The atmosphere uses these quiet hours to reset, preparing for the next day's soft motions of wind, cloud, and sunlight. In this delicate pause, the planet feels as though it is holding its breath, embracing a moment of perfect calm. These peaceful nights remind us that rest is woven into the very structure of the sky. Gentle rain days calm the mind and body, softening the pace of the world. Each drop falls with a steady rhythm that slows thoughts, like a natural metronome, guiding breath back into balance. The muted light, softened sounds, and cool moisture in the air create a sense of safety, inviting stillness. Rien refresh blanc cleans the air and returns moisture to the soil in a cycle older than human memory. Even light showers carry the scent of renewal, spreading tiny particles that nourish ecosystems. As raindrops merge on rooftops and windows, they tell quiet stories of clouds drifting, rising, and releasing their weight. These calm days remind us that weather is not only movement and change, it is also comfort, healing, and a gentle invitation to rest. The sun directs every movement of weather without needing a single sound. Its warmth drives winds, shapes clouds, fuels storms, and powers the entire water cycle. Even the smallest shift in sunlight can create changes across continents: morning breezes, afternoon clouds, evening coolness. Yet despite this immense influence, the sun works quietly, sending energy across space in soft waves of light. This silent power organizes the atmosphere like a conductor, guiding an orchestra with subtle gestures. Seasons respond to its tilt, winds trace its heating patterns, and oceans follow its steady pulse. Everything in Earth's weather originates from this calm star, glowing patiently at the center of our system. In its silence, there is stability. In its warmth, there is life. Every day, the weather wraps around Earth in a gentle, renewing cycle, from morning sunlight to evening breezes, from quiet rains to star-filled nights. The atmosphere continually adjusts itself with soft, natural motions, these daily patterns warming, cooling, rising, sinking, create the foundation that all life depends on. Even when storms form or winds shift, the overall rhythm remains steady, repeating endlessly across generations. Weather is not a force separate from us. It is a presence that touches every breath, every leaf, every ocean wave. Its continuous flow reminds us that change can be soft, that movement can be peaceful, and that the planet itself is always caring for its surface. This daily embrace is Earth's way of nurturing everything it holds. And now, with these 100 gentle truths, Your breath begins to slow as we reach the end of our quiet journey through the weather of our world. I invite you to let your body settle a little deeper into wherever you are resting. Throughout this gentle exploration, we have drifted with the winds. You felt the softness of clouds, listened to the rhythm of rain, and watched the atmosphere move with the calm patience of a living, breathing presence. Now, all of those images can settle inside you like slow-falling snow, drifting softly to the back of your mind. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to hold on to, nothing you must do. The weather continues its ancient cycles without effort. And right now, you are allowed to do the same. Tonight, the sky above you is carrying on with its quiet work, even if you cannot see it. The air is moving gently, balancing itself, smoothing temperature, carrying moisture, guiding clouds from one horizon to another. That same air surrounds you, supporting each breath, keeping your body steady and your mind at ease. You are part of this atmosphere, part of this moment, part of the soft pulse of Earth that continues whether you watch it or not. Let that connection bring you comfort. Let it remind you that you belong to something vast and calming. As your breath becomes slower, imagine it moving with the world's own rhythm. Inhale like a valley filling with cool night air. Exhale like a warm breeze drifting across an open field at sunset. Every breath is part of the planet's gentle exchange, a soft, effortless movement of energy that has flowed for billions of years. There is so much stability in that, so much quiet certainty. The weather changes from day to day, yet the deeper processes behind it remain steady, reassuring, dependable, just like your breath. Think back for a moment to the stillness of windless nights, those hours when the air becomes calm and everything feels balanced, as if the entire sky is resting. You can borrow that feeling now. Let your thoughts settle the way cool air settles into valleys. Let your muscles relax, the way soft fog wraps itself around hillsides. Let your mind slow the way clouds drift across quiet oceans. You do not need to guide anything. The calm will find you naturally, just as dawn finds the horizon without being pushed. If rain is falling outside your window, let its rhythm lull you. If the night is clear and cool, imagine the crisp air brushing gently across open fields. If the day has been warm, picture the lingering heat rising quietly into the sky. No matter what weather surrounds you, there is always something soothing hidden inside it, something soft, consistent, and grounding. Tonight, it belongs to you. Weather has shaped this world with patience. Winds carved stone, rain nurtured forests, snow fed rivers, and sunlight guided life. None of these transformations happened quickly. They unfolded slowly, gracefully, without rush. In the same way, your body can shift into rest at its own pace. There is no hurry. There is no demand. You can sink into sleep the same way a quiet cloud sinks into the evening sky softly, naturally, without effort. As your eyes grow heavy, imagine the entire atmosphere moving far above you in broad, gentle currents. Picture clouds forming and dissolving, breezes gliding over calm seas, warm days fading into cool nights. All of it continues, whether you are awake or drifting off. You are surrounded by a world that knows how to restore itself. And you, too, are allowed to restore. So breathe a little deeper. Let your shoulders drop. Let your mind become as open and unburdened as a quiet morning sky. The world is soft tonight, and there is nothing left for you to do. You are safe. You are held, and you can rest now. Good night, traveler. May the calm of Earth's weather carry you gently into sleep.